The last player we're going to talk about tonight is the Fox main Zamu, who is second in Champagne right behind Shabo and was ranked 78th last year. So with that, it should come as no surprise before we even jump to the resume. He's not in the same vein of a lot of the players that we talked about already, and wow, this folder's building up fast. A lot of these players, they're like a maybe for making the top 100, or like concerned about potentially being like snuffed out by one or two more players or someone with crazy wins. Zamu, very, very clearly top 100. Anyone who says otherwise, I think is just wrong. And I don't, that's not a hot take at all. You may be seeing these tournaments and be like, really? This guy is a lock for top 100? Just let's wait where we get the adventure of Zamu traveling over to Europe. Zamu was fortunately able to link me to the head-to-head for the region, and like Zamu just said, he's most likely going to be number one. Well, I trust you that you're going to be number one in the region after. And it makes sense when you look at these spreads. He's got that edge over Shabo, and this is exactly what, when I talk about not knowing someone's head-to-head in region and waiting to reserve judgment in how they play, because like we could maybe on these results that he would have one loss to PRZ, and I wouldn't be like, a loss to PRZ is less than desirable, but I would want to see the greater trends. Here's exactly what it is. We're not going to count this one PRZ loss super against Zamu, nor this even record there, or this one loss to Leo tremendously against Zamu. Axe is not getting 10th in the world because he lost to Napkins. Losing to Shabo and Just Joe. So again, these would be like players around the level. Actually, I don't know how good Just Joe is. Important to know, because with the other players, we're going into it saying like, oh, maybe these players are going to make the top 100. So we kind of look with that perspective and on that gauge of what players we're going to be talking about. Zamu, we have to talk about him in the mind of a player that could potentially be top 50. And we got to gauge good, bad losses on that kind of category. And also wins as well. So like for the other players, we maybe highlight this Plebo win. We definitely will be highlighting the Dreffen win though. And we will definitely be highlighting the Homemade Waffles and Wins win. I believe that might be Homemade Waffles' best win of the year. I keep on saying Zamu's got such a weird resume. You've lost at the Homemade Waffles, but multiple wins over Triff. You have a lifetime losing record? The Zets? Really? Oh, that's awesome. Shout out to Zets. What are you trying to... I send this to you and you don't say you saw this. I mean, this just adds another... does this fit in the storyline, or is this post? Yeah, so this fits in like right around this category. Yeah, hell yeah. So you got that Zamu win. No worries, Zamu. I don't think you're a bad actor in that regard. You have so many tournaments. And I don't think, including that, like I'm not going to take the time and waste your guys' time to type this all in. But definitely keep in mind that he has a Bobby Frizz loss and a Game Boy Jr. loss, both in Game 5s. Zamu, what's up with this consistency? So we get into all these losses, this weird string of losses, Zamu deciding to lose, as he just said in chat, or playing Falco for a couple of games. Not that I'm just going to completely absolve you of that. And then Zamu's like, yeah, I'll travel to Europe for a bit. I'll beat Professor Pro. I'll beat Hacks. I'll beat Forrest. Just no big deal. And obviously the biggest one of these, double eliminating Triff and winning a European event. Absolutely insane to have on your resume. Oh, it's a different Forrest? Oh, so it's not Forrest, it's Forrest? Okay, so then I'll do that. Like if we had a European player with like this event and then like attended a couple more European events, that player makes like probably top 50 just on this. Well, that's a big hypothetical and a big statement to make, but this is an incredible tournament to have under your belt, and this is another incredible tournament to have under your belt, and so is this. Well, the Hacks Money win, I wouldn't say it's like an incredible tournament or by any regards, but still having a Slox win in any regard, real good. There's the Q loss. So you also lost the Q and Rick, which is not the favorite thing in the world. So you have as well another tournament that we may have missed out on. So we have these two we've smashed out and hold that L to add on top of this. We're in a very weird situation with such a weird resume, and I keep on using the term weird, but I can't think of anything else that describes it. Because with anyone else, if I was going through the resume of what they had, and we find out, like, this event is something that happened, a loss to Rick and Q, who I've never heard of, and then we also had a loss like Game Boy Jr. and Bobby Frizz, well, probably more Game Boy Jr. that I haven't heard of, we'd be like, wow, that radically changes what I think of this player, and, like, the kind of quote-unquote story of that the resume tells. But with Zamu, he already had losses to Homemade Waffles, Wens, Just Joe, Reeve, all in here. So, like, what's another 4 kind of super bad losses to add on to the pile? Oh, yeah, so we can just continue out. Losing the Koyashi, I don't think is any sort of problem either. It's kind of like a player. Well, for the skill level that those wins over Triff would give us, the Koyashi loss is less than desirable as well. I've had a couple of people where I've kind of just like, I don't know what to do about ranking them here. And then there's you, Zamu, man. What does Elo rank him? Oh, yeah, that's a good question. We should just go over to Elo. If you ever needed a reason why Elo doesn't work, actually, damn, I forgot how many good wins Mog has. I don't know, maybe, guys, maybe Elo's right. But is there a high volatility next to Zamu? Yeah. Yeah, that's an understatement. Will Zamu make the top 100? Yes. Will Zamu be ranked higher than 78th and improve from last year? Almost certainly. Where will Zamu be ranked? I have no clue. We have essentially two different players here. We have mid-year Zamu, who has Hacks, Prof, won a tournament over Triff, Slocks, Kells, Bladewise wins. And then we have late-year Zamu, who has the double eliminated by 100 grand, Travioli, Poppy losses, as well as, I believe, yeah, the Smashed Out, the Game Boy Jr., and Bobby Frizz losses are at this part of the year. And then right before he goes on the tear, we have the Rick and Q losses. So you have a grab loss this year, too? Oh, my God. And again, this is going to be, we're going to have this discussion again about Zamu in about 2 or 3 weeks based on when we look at all the data of the people around him. Is Zamu top 50? I don't know, probably not. I have the duality of man right here, because it feels weird giving someone with so many bad losses saying that they're a top 50 player. But it also feels weird not giving someone top 50 who double eliminated Triff this year and has all of these other really, really good wins. Zamu has very high variance, and the floor for Zamu is quite low. It's lower than a lot of the players. Even when he gets ranked, the floor for Zamu is going to be lower than a lot of the players around him, because a lot of the players with the same floor as him are going to be ranked monumentally lower because they don't have the same wins. And a lot of the players with the same wins as him are going to be ranked monumentally higher, because a lot of the players that are beating players like Triff, Prof, Hacks, and Slocks, a good way to find out where to play Zamu, because he's going to be halfway between the kind of players that lose consistently to people like Morse and Reeve and Homemade Waffles and Wens. Halfway between that, and then between the kind of players who are beating Hacks, Prof, Triff, Nikki, and Slocks. Fairson, Fan, and Happygate, I think you have a good read on where he's going to end up. I'd probably say like somewhere between like 55 to 70 feels right for where Zamu is, just because it's hard to ignore all these great wins, and it's even harder to ignore all these terrible, terrible losses for a player in this range. And I think that about wraps up our discussion on Zamu. Oh, Zamu.